Hello, everyone. Speaking to you from the future. The year is 2021. Your teacher, Miss Tiffany, asked me to sub in for her today because she's fixing her fridge again. So let's get this started. All right, let me grab my marker. All right, so I heard that you guys are having trouble with this question in particular. When the decimal point of positive number n is moved 2 places to the left, the result is equal to 6 over n minus 1. What is the value of n? So just a caveat, I'm not a teacher by trade, so bear with me for a bit. And I'm sure your teacher could, help you out a lot better when she comes back. So to figure out this question, let's break it down a little bit. If something is moved 2 places to the left, a decimal point is moved 2 places to the left of, some number, that's the equivalent of dividing it by 100, as you can see right here. Let me separate this. So, for example, just say our number is 100. And the decimal point for 100 would be right there. If you move the decimal point place 2 to the left, then it's equal to 1, which is the same as 100 minus divided by 100. And you'll see that this is true for all other numbers as well. So if we rewrite this question, then that's telling us n divided by 100 is equal to 6n minus 1. And we could simplify this equation to get, n all on one side. Let's first cross multiply. So we have n times n minus 1 equals 600. And if you want to, multiply by n there, then you get n squared minus n equals 600, which brings you to n squared n minus 600 equals 0. And as you recall, this is the polynomial form. And when you have an equation like this, you might remember that you could solve it with the quadratic formula, which, to remind you guys, is x equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And we could certainly solve it with this problem, with the quadratic formula. But if you look over here, this line right here, n times n minus 1 equals 600, you might be able to figure out a shortcut to this. What this tells us that n minus n minus 1, n times n minus 1, n times n minus 1 is basically saying two sequential numbers. So if you, for example, if you have a times a minus 1 equals 20, that's saying you have two sequential numbers, a, the greater of the two, and a minus 1, 1 less than a. The product of those two equals 20. And if you can figure that out, you don't have to go through this quadratic equation. But that's, it might not be so intuitive to come up with these equations. And for this example, the answer is 5 times 4. And since you're looking for a equals 5. And in this case, n minus 1 equals 600. That might not be the easiest thing to figure out because you don't normally memorize your multiplication tables up to 600. But let's just play around with some numbers, see if we could figure something out. So one of the first things that comes to mind for me is 60 times 10. And that's too big. So let's try to bring the numbers a little bit closer together. So how about 20 times 30? That's an easy one. But still too far apart. But we're getting close because the gaps went from 50 to 10. So let's see. Another common one I could think of is 25 times, let's see, 4, 8, 12. How many? 4, 24. And there you go. We have our two sequential numbers that equal 600 and equals 25. But, if that doesn't come to you, it's fine. You could always use the quadratic formula. So let's try that out right now. Negative b, so this is n squared. So to fit it all in, we have the coefficient of n squared is going to be a, coefficient of negative n is going to be b, and negative 600 is c. So let's plug that all in. You have negative 1 plus or minus negative 1 squared. So I'm just going to write 1 minus 4 times 1 times negative 600. So that's, 4 times negative 600. Over 2a, which is just 2. So simplify that. We have 1 plus or minus, Jesus. Is that really it? One plus 2400 over 2, which equals 1 plus or minus 2401 over 2. And that's quite a ginormous square root to figure out. So give me 1 second while I put this in the calculator. So that equals 1 plus or minus square root, plus or minus 49 over 2. And because the question, as you recall, the question says positive number n, so we could throw away this negative sign one. We're not going to look at that because just by the nature of the question, we're only going to need the positive number. So that's 50 over 2, which equals 25, and that's our answer. Anyways, that's all the time we have for today. I'll see you guys whenever. Bye-bye.